Hey everybody, what's up? I apologize if this video goes off prematurely and I have to redo it. It's done this at times. But I thought I'd talk about what happened tonight on Raw. You know, it's been reported that Seth Rollins' next opponent going into Survivor Series was going to be Roman Reigns. And I know a lot of people will still disagree with that choice. But after tonight on Raw, which is currently still going on right now on USA here on the West Coast, after tonight on Raw, Roman Reigns became the #1 contender. Now some people pretty much, including the one that was reporting the Raw results, if you will, pretty much like the fact that we had four qualifying matches and one fatal four-way that all seem to be good. They all seem to have decent payoffs. Now, looking at Survivor Series this year, it will be celebrating 25 years of The Undertaker, and believe me, looking back at it now, that's hard to believe. Because I was only 11 years old when The Undertaker debuted in WWE, and now look at me, I'm at 36 years old. That's a long time. Still hard to believe. But when one looks at Survivor Series, one looks at the potential matchups we're getting. Now, we obviously after tonight, we're getting Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins for the championship. Now, they could throw us a curveball and add Dean Ambrose to the mix as well to kind of make it a triple threat and make it the Shield dream match that everybody wants to see. They still have time to do that between now and the week of Thanksgiving, on the Sunday before Thanksgiving. They still have time to do that. But, then again, we could be wrong. We could be wrong. Now, as far as that matchup goes, the question is going to be, are they going to wait or are they going to pull the trigger? We all know that the rumored report for WrestleMania next year is for Roman Reigns to walk out with the title. It doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to walk into there a former champion, because he could. Now, there's also reports that we could have a triple threat match for that main event there too, involving Lesnar, Rollins, and Reigns. But again, we'll just have to wait and see. But that's going to be the ultimate question between now and then. Is WWE going to pull the trigger? Some people I know hope they don't, because they pretty much enjoy the fact that Seth is being presented as the kind of champion that the more you build him up, the more you're going to want to get behind the person that knocks him down. And as much as Survivor Series is an appropriate place for probably that to happen, a lot of people are hoping perhaps it will be WrestleMania 32. But with that said, when one looks at Survivor Series, we also have an indication that we're going to get a traditional Survivor Series main event match. On one side, we're going to have the Wyatt family, and on the other side, we're going to have Undertaker, and after tonight, his brother Kane, Demon Kane, and two other partners. The only question, though, is who are those partners going to be? Well, when one looks at history, one would assume that partner number 3 is Daniel Bryan, because he's teamed with those two before, so it's an obvious choice. But then again, when you take a look at the recent history with Dean Ambrose and the Wyatts, Dean Ambrose is a good choice as well. But, on the other hand, you could have John Cena come back and team with them, and that probably wouldn't surprise a lot of people, but it would be an obvious choice, because even though he'd be gone for a while, his door would still be open for Survivor Series. Now, with that said, who else could you get? Well, besides those three obvious choices, who would be the fourth member? Well, I think if WWE is going to bring him back for another big, even though he's not advertised, they can always change their minds on it. The fourth member, I believe, out of respect, has to be Brock Lesnar. Because take a look at this. You could have the best opportunity in front of you right now. The best opportunity. You have the best opportunity at the 25th anniversary of The Undertaker's debut, Survivor Series, to basically really solidify how traditional and how important these matches are and how main event level they can be again by bringing, and not just main event level, but how all-star like they can be by having someone like a Brock Lesnar team with Kane and Undertaker and whoever their other partner is, whether it's Daniel Bryan, John Cena, or Dean Ambrose. Now, some people might even say it could be Big Show. I know that's going through people's minds right now. That, oh, it could be Big Show. And it could be. I know a lot of people don't want to think about that possibility, but when you think about the fact that on one side, you got a mountain of men, as Roman Reigns put it, in Rowan, Harper, and Strowman. And on the other hand, you got the Brothers of Destruction, possibly Lesnar, and whoever the other partner is. You would have to go with someone that's big enough to go toe-to-toe with Strowman. And that would be Big Show. But, with that said, the possibilities of partners are endless. You could even throw a Mark Henry in there for a possible power matchup. But again, like I say, the possibilities are endless. The only question being, going into this, is who the partners of the Brothers of Destruction will be. Again, I've already have an idea of who it will be, especially if they want to protect one of them. One of them being Daniel Bryan. I firmly believe, in my opinion, it's got to be the team that The Undertaker and Kane captain together, or lead together, is going to consist of them, Daniel Bryan, and possibly Brock Lesnar. It's got to be that way. And I know some people might say they're not going to waste Lesnar on a Survivor Series elimination match. Well, if you show him that he's got an opportunity to do less work during a match, and it's a tag match, there you go. Now, I know some people might even speculate and say, hey, it could be Sting. Imagine Sting on the same side as The Undertaker. And that's a possibility too, because that would plant the seeds for a possible Sting-Bray Wyatt match at WrestleMania. But again, it's all up to what the WWE wants to do. My personal opinion, my personal opinion, going on gut feeling alone, is it's going to be Taker, it's going to be Kane, probably Daniel Bryan, and most definitely Brock Lesnar. Now, if they can't get Lesnar, they got to go with Cena or maybe even Ambrose. So it could be any one of those combinations. But I think the most logical choice is Taker, Kane, Daniel Bryan, and Lesnar. Lesnar for the fact that it's less work for him, but it can also show how much of a freak the guy is by having him freaking F5 Braun Strowman. Imagine that. Imagine the moment that could be a Survivor Series with him basically F5ing this monster, this mountain of a man. And again, it could be a partnership out of respect, nothing else. Now, also looking at Survivor Series this year, we're obviously going to get Paige and Charlotte for the title, for the Divas title. Now, it looks like that's what they're building up towards. Unless they do a Divas Survivor Series match, which still could happen, it looks like we're going to have a Divas title match between Charlotte and Paige. Now, like I said, we could possibly also get a Divas Survivor Series match, which would include maybe Becky, Natalya, and whoever else they could get. I would assume that this would be the opportunity to bring up Bayley to be part of that team. Natalya, Bayley. I mean, this is the way I look at it. You got Team Bad on one end, and you got Natalya, Becky, and I got to go with Bayley on this. I really do. And it could be just a 6-diva elimination match. 6-diva Survivor Series elimination match. It could work. And I know some people are sick and tired of seeing these 6-diva deals. But I think it's the best thing going. I really do. I really think it's the best thing going. Now, they could switch it up and put a 3-diva elimination match which we have seen before, I think. But I think the best thing right now is to go 6 Diva, and again, it'll be the best opportunity for Bayley to be called back up. Now, I've even imagined the fact that it could also be a traditional 4-on-4 Diva Survivor Series match. I've thought about that. And I've thought about, on one side, you could have Team Bad, which would be Sasha, Naomi, and Tamina. And you could have maybe partner with them out of NXT, Emma. That would be the best choice there. And then on the other side, you could have Charlotte. You could have, not Charlotte, but you could have Becky. You could have Natalya. You could have Bayley, which again would be a great opportunity. And you could have even Asuka, Kana, if you will, which I think would be even great as well, because that gives her a little bit of exposure. So that could be a Survivor Series tag match, Diva Survivor Series tag match right there, if they decide to go the 4-on-4 route, or even, like I said, they decide to go the 3 route. Again, we'll just have to wait and see. Now, another thing is, with everything going on, we know we're going to have some other traditional Survivor Series matchups. I don't think it's a no-brainer. You know, on one hand, I mean, you take a look at tonight, and I think it pretty much sets up the fact that you're going to have New Day and whoever their partner is going to be, which I would assume the partner would have to be Alberto, maybe. I'm not saying it is, but it's got to be somebody. I would assume New Day's partner has to be Tyler Breeze. And on the other hand, on the side, you could have the Dudleys, Dolph Ziggler, and whoever else they get. Which I think possibly after the recent matchup, you would have to go with Cesaro. So you could have Ziggler, Cesaro, and the Dudleys. Maybe, well, matter of fact, when you think about it, you could have that. You could have Ziggler, the Dudleys, and Cesaro against the New Day and Tyler Breeze. Now, if you want to go the 5-on-5 route, which you'll probably... Now, if I look at this year, they might stay true to that Survivor Series mixture, because that's how Undertaker debut was in tradition. Again, you could look at the New Day, Tyler Breeze, and maybe even a partner like a Del Rio or Kevin Owens. And on the other hand, you could have somebody, you can have them against a team of Ziggler, the Dudleys, you know, Cesaro, and maybe even Ryback. I'm just saying. But I think that could really help. But if we were to be realistic here, I look at the Dudleys being part of a Survivor Series elimination match, New Day on the opposite side, New Day probably teaming with Tyler Breeze, the Dudleys probably teaming up with Dolph Ziggler, and maybe even Cesaro. That's how I see it. I mean, it's just too obvious to me. Again, I could be wrong. We might see the return of Spike, but right now that would be the more logical choice. Kevin Owens, he's the Intercontinental Champion. Where are they going to go with him? I would think they're going to give him a Survivor Series match for the title. The thing is, who it will be, I don't know. Then again, they could place him into a Survivor Series match as well. Because again, you got the talent there now to put some teams together. I mean, take a look. You got Barrett, Rusev, and Sheamus as a team, as a trio. You could have Owens added to that equation. And on the other side, you could have someone like Neville. You know, you could have, who else? You could have Ryback. So many other choices. You got, like I said, you got Neville, you got Ryback. Who else does it? I mean, I know it's stretching it, right? But you got Neville, you got Ryback. You could have, heck, you could have Ambrose in there, because there's a hint that Ambrose and Owens are going to go at it soon. So you could have Neville, Ryback, Ambrose, and who else? Again, it's kind of hard to think about it. Maybe Jack Swagger, I'm not really sure. Oh, you know what? I think the person they could bring up from NXT, and this would be the perfect opportunity for it, bring up Samoa Joe. That's how I look at it. Now you might say, well, Joe's going to be a bad guy. Doesn't necessarily mean he's got to be a bad guy when it comes to the main roster. So I would think Joe could be a good option there. Hey, Finn Balor. It's a one-time deal. Bring him up. It might work. So I think that'd be great. You do have, how do I put this? You do have the opportunity for some tag team elimination matches where you just have tag teams teaming together. I mean, on one side you could have Prime Time and the Lucha Dragons against the Ascension and whoever their partners could be. I would assume it would probably be Blake and Murphy because I think they're going to be called up soon. So I could see that. I mean, looking at Survivor Series this year, they're going to want to go all out because it's the 25th anniversary of the Undertaker's debut. So they're going to want to go all out for the event. So it's just my speculation on what I think we could see. But, let me know what you guys think. What do you think we'll see besides of what I've mentioned? What do you think we'll probably see from a realistic standpoint at Survivor Series, the 25th anniversary of The Undertaker? What do you think we'll see this year from a traditional Survivor Series match point and from the matches that could be? Let me know down below. Comment if you like. Talk to y'all later.